What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com.
Here are my DFS picks for MLB Monday, May 31st.
These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button
And hit that bell icon.
so you don't miss our new videos.
In this video, I'm going to go over my top DFS picks for today's MLB slate.
And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made.
Okay guys, we have a 9-game slate tonight. So let's take a look at the pitcher position. So we got a few studs here that are in good spots. And there's a bunch of good value on this slate. So I think you can easily pay up at pitcher. And out of these top 3 guys, Corbin Burnes, Rich Hill, and Jose Barrios, I like Corbin Burnes. Pitching against a low salary batting team, the Detroit Tigers. Corbin Burnes, he's giving up a .500 OPS versus lefties, a .407 OPS versus righties, and a .558 OPS versus switch hitters. So he's a nice balanced pitcher, pitches pretty well to all hands, and that's good because tonight he's got a balanced lineup, 2 lefties, 3 righties, and 4 switch hitters. Now this is a super small sample size. The Tigers have hit 1 of his last 9 pitches, so too small of a sample size to know how that's going to play out yet. But it looks like it's going to go pretty well. And Corbin Burnes is $10,600 FanDuel salary, and he's $700 less on DraftKings. He's projected at 38.6 fantasy points here tonight. He has an ERA of 2.33. Record is 2-4 on the season, pitching an average of 87 pitches per game, averaging 45 fantasy points per game. He scored 27, 43, and 39 fantasy points in the last 3 games. So I mostly like this pick because he's facing a weak batting team, and he's a balanced pitcher facing a balanced lineup, so it kind of makes sense here. So I like Corbin Burnes here versus the Detroit Tigers. Okay, let's take a look at the catcher first base position. I like Rhys Hoskins with a 92% batting advantage over a low salary pitcher, Wade Miley. Rhys Hoskins, he's batting 33% better versus lefty pitchers, batting a 1.116 OPS versus lefties, and Wade Miley throws his worst ball versus righty batters, 59% worse than his other pitches, giving up a .869 OPS versus righties. There's no at-bats versus Miley's yet, and he's $3,600 FanDuel salary, and he's $1,400 more on DraftKings. Projected at 11 fantasy points here tonight, averaging 11 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 3, 3, and 22 fantasy points in the last 3 games. So I like Rhys Hoskins here versus Wade Miley.
Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching. If you want to enter the drawing for $100 PayPal, all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won, and then we'll send you $100 PayPal. So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you.
Now guys, just as a quick note, we just released a free DFS contest on Draft Dashboard for MLB and NBA for DraftKings and FanDuel. There's over $500 available in the prize pool, and this is a totally free contest you can enter as a Draft Dashboard member. So make sure to click the link in the description of this video, give Draft Dashboard a try, and you can start playing in our free DFS contest and compete to win some money. Now, there's a bunch of catcher first basemen that are in great spots here tonight. Just going to go through the top 5 here, or the top 6 actually. So Rhys Hoskins, who's my favorite pick out of the bunch, but then you got Jared Walsh, Matt Olson, G-Man Choi, JT Realmuto, and Tucker Barnhart. So out of those guys, Tucker Barnhart is only $2,400 FanDuel salary. He's $1,300 more on DraftKings. He has a 50% batting advantage here over Vince Velasquez because he bats 39% better versus righty pitchers, batting a .778 OPS versus righties, and Vince Velasquez throws his worst ball versus lefty batters, giving up a .804 OPS versus lefties. And I like this pick because Tucker Barnhart is 2 for 4, batting .500 with a 1.350 OPS versus Velasquez. And he's only $2,400 FanDuel salary, $1,300 less on DraftKings. $1,300 more on DraftKings. So I like that price on both sites. Projected at 9.8 fantasy points here tonight, averaging 8 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 13 and 6 fantasy points in the last 2 games. So I like Tucker Barnhart here versus Vince Velasquez. Okay, let's take a look at the second base position. I like Ozzie Albies with a 53% batting advantage over Joe Ross. Ozzie Albies, he bats a little bit better versus righty pitchers, batting a .780 OPS versus righties. And Joe Ross throws his worst ball by far to switch hitters. 49% worse than his other pitches, giving up a 1.4 OPS versus switch hitters. And I like this pick because Ozzie Albies is 4 for 6, batting a .667 batting average and a 1.381 OPS versus Ross. He's $3,100 FanDuel salary, and something's up with that DraftKings price. He's definitely not $6,300 more on DraftKings, so ignore that. I'll check that out. But he's projected at 10.8 fantasy points here tonight. He's averaging 11 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 10, 22, and 7 fantasy points in the last 3 games. So I like Ozzie Albies here versus Joe Ross. Okay, let's take a look at the third base position. I like Alex Bregman with a 40% batting advantage over Eduardo Rodriguez. Alex Bregman bats 29% better versus lefty pitchers. He's batting a .988 OPS versus lefties. And Eduardo Rodriguez pitches his worst ball versus righty batters, 11% worse than his other pitches, giving up a .849 OPS versus righties. Now Alex Bregman is 3 for 7, batting a .429 batting average and a 1.858 OPS versus Rodriguez. 2 of those 3 hits were for a home run, and the other one was a double. He's $3,200 FanDuel salary and $2,000 more on DraftKings, projected at 10.5 fantasy points here tonight, averaging 11 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 10, 13, and 9 fantasy points in the last 3 games. So I like Alex Bregman here versus Eduardo Rodriguez.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Okay, who do we have at the shortstop position? You notice I haven't picked Xander Bogaerts in a while, and although I think he's a fine play here tonight, I'm going to go with a value play. I like Brandon Crawford with a 55% batting advantage over Dylan Bundy. Brandon Crawford bats 34% better versus righty pitchers, batting a .900 OPS versus righties, and Dylan Bundy throws 21% worse to lefties as he does righties, giving up a .798 OPS versus lefties. So now Brandon Crawford is 0 for 4 versus Bundy, but I like those splits. I think he's due for a hit, and he's only $2,500 FanDuel salary and $1,300 more on DraftKings, projected at 9.5 fantasy points here tonight. He's averaging 11 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 0, 18, and 12 fantasy points in the last 3 games. So I like Brandon Crawford here versus Dylan Bundy. Okay, moving on to the outfield position. Here's a stud pick for you. I like Nick Castellanos batting here versus Vince Velasquez. Nick Castellanos is batting a .914 OPS versus righties, and Vince Velasquez is giving up a .716 OPS versus righties. Now I like this pick because he's 3 for 7, batting a .429 batting average and a 1.214 OPS versus Velasquez. He's $4,100 FanDuel salary, and he's $400 more on DraftKings. Projected at 10.3 fantasy points here tonight, averaging 14 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 9, 9, and 6 fantasy points in his last 3 games. So I like Nick Castellanos here versus Vince Velasquez.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smiggity smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.